Hi, this is Dr. John Powers with the Aesthetic Business Institute, and thank you for joining me here today as we talk a little bit about using video tools to engage your current clients and also reach some potential new clients, even during this time of COVID-19. Digital communication allows you to reach people in an exponential way, and so this is the perfect time when people are more engaged online than ever to reach out with your video opportunities available. Let's talk first about using video for virtual connection, consultations, and events. We have an opportunity here where our world has changed from a communication standpoint almost overnight. And we now have an opportunity to reach people that maybe we couldn't have before. You want to be a source of information. You want to engage folks with where you have a level of expertise. People are searching for information and searching for things to do while they are home and under some sort of quarantine in different parts of the country. And they also are looking for some hope to return to some sense of normalcy. And so you have an opportunity to provide your current clients and even future clients with this opportunity about what is to come, what your practice will offer when we're back and open. Things are opened up a little bit and back to normal, if you will. Also, it gives you an opportunity to allow people to learn a little bit more about your practice, your services, your programs, your products, and your staff. It's also important to take advantage of video to let potential customers know what differentiates you from the competition. And this is not the time to slam your competitors or even mention them by name, but just let them know what makes you stand out. Why should they choose you when the economy is back open and people are again searching for your services? So differentiate yourself. Let people know what makes you special. These virtual events and personal consultations are also a great way to reach people in two different kinds of ways. Your virtual events can be a group event where you are providing some education, some information for folks in a more global scope, again, touting your services and not so much a direct sales fashion, but instead providing information about your services that makes you stand out and would be interesting to people watching on their screen. The other way is a one-on-one consultation, and there's lots of software out there for this, and there's also some free tools for you to use that would allow you to discuss products and services and treatments for a person individually. This is also a great way for you to hold one-on-one consultations with folks through lots of software that's available for this, lots of free software that potentially could be used for this purpose, and it lets you interact with a potential client in a way very similar to what you would have done before the coronavirus situation. So take advantage of those and reach current clients, engage them, provide them with some normalcy in their lives. They, I'm sure, would be very happy to hear from you and to see you on screen, and also be available to reach out to new clients who are just itching to get out of their house and get back to some sense of normalcy and hopefully become new clients for your practice. Next, let's talk about live social media events as a way to promote your practice, to share information, and to generate some buzz around all that you're doing in your practice, even during this time when we are at home. there are lots of things you can do. You can hold virtual open houses. You know, universities across the country are faced with similar situation as we're talking about here, and they are having Accepted Students Day and open houses and all sorts of virtual events to try to convince students who have been accepted at their university to choose them. Very, very competitive market right now. And so this is a great time for you also to use some online tools to hold a virtual open house at your practice. You can do tours, and this can be a recorded video or on social media or a live video, but let people see what your practice is about and how special it is, and how excited your potential clients will be to come see you once we are able to get out and about, hopefully soon. You can also offer some special future discounts by taking part in one of these virtual live events through social media. You can offer coupons, discounts, specials to folks who have been involved in these online with you. You can do Q&A with your clinicians and your staff, set up either together or separate times when people can log in. It's also a great time to do demonstrations, and so you can use a live social media event for that. Again, you can videotape it ahead of time, so you'll have a little bit more control, you know, how to edit it and maybe shorten it a little bit or clean it up if necessary, or and so forth. But these are all available to you through social media. And again, statistics are showing that more and more people than ever are home in front of their screens. And this is a great opportunity to take advantage of that and reach folks with information and education about your practice. Let's now talk about how we can use some of the video meetings that we all seem to be more and more involved with, and how we can use those in the best possible way. So here are some tips to make sure you come across in the best possible fashion during these video meetings with your colleagues. And the first and the most important tip or best practice I'll share with you before we get into more details would be simply to not distract. That people are able to hear what you're trying to say. They're able to see your facial expressions and your body language, and not distracted by what's around you, by sound or background things behind you. They're not distracted by lighting issues with your seeing your facial expressions and that sort of thing. So you don't want to cause any disruption in the communication process. You want people to be able to take in what you're trying to say and focus on that, and not be focused on what is that beeping I hear in the background? Why is the dog barking? Why can't I see your face? All that kind of stuff. So let's get into a little bit more detail about that now. Let's first talk about audio. And there's an old maxim in the film industry that people will watch a film with bad video, but they will not stay through or want to watch a film that has poor audio. So that is really important to take in, even in these simple video conference meetings that we all are having in this day and age. A couple things to remember, just a quick tips as we go through audio. One is to turn off other sounds in your house, whether it's the TV in the background, there's music coming from another room, there's there's a dog somewhere, there's family members, etc. We know that sometimes this is possible and sometimes this is not. When there are multiple people in the same house, working or going to school or just living in this day and age. But if you can do your best to eliminate any distracting noises outside of your meeting, that would be great. Number two, understand that people in the meeting, no matter how many people are there, unless you are muted, they can hear you on your computer. So if you're sort of trying to do two things at once and you're answering an email and you're typing, just understand that people can hear you as you do that. And so either mute yourself to be a little more discreet about that, or avoid trying to type and multitask while you're in your meeting. Many use headphones with their online meetings. I don't have any here right now to use, but for many of my meetings I do, and it's simply a way for me to sort of focus in on what I'm trying to hear, and again, not be distracted myself by things on the outside. I think in many cases too, it can help with your audio coming through, that if you have headphones or even earbuds, the microphone on those can often direct your voice into a microphone in a better way than using the microphone on the laptop. And finally, selecting mute on your meeting is always a good practice to just have as a default. And then when you do want to talk, to unmute yourself and jump in. I've seen meetings where it's just a few people and there's some distracting feedback or some sort of issue. Sometimes you can hear who's ever speaking on delay, and it's sort of distracting to hear that in the background. So I've run bigger meetings where classes at the university where I've just mute everybody to start. So if there's 20 or 25 people there, it's sometimes necessary to just set the default as mute all, and then ask people when you need to speak, unmute yourself. Some different software have it so you can just hit the space bar, hold that down and talk, and then when you release it, the mute goes back on and that sort of thing. But that's another way to not lead to distraction. Okay, let's talk about video. And one of the important things just right off the bat is to get your camera level at your eyes, or at least the middle of your face, if at all possible. Right now I have my laptop stacked up on some boxes of paper and a book and so forth to get to a reasonable level. Many times people shoot these videos or are in meetings with the camera down on a desk somewhere and it's looking up, and that's not a good look. Other times it's again, it's showing part of the head, or you're just not in the frame as you would like. So make sure that it's at a good eye level where your camera is. Number two is important that you tilt your screen so that your face is and your eyes are in at least the middle, if not the top third of your screen. Since your camera is on your laptop is normally at the top of your screen, this is a really important thing to keep your eyes on the camera as much as possible, as opposed to down on the screen. Another tip is to resize the window of the other people in your meeting and put it up at the top by your camera, if at all possible. This way your eyes always go up towards where the camera is. It's just natural to look at folks who you're talking to and try to make eye contact with them, and I've myself have been in meetings where the people with me in the meeting are at the bottom of the screen, and I notice that I'm continually looking down there as opposed to into the camera, which then makes it look like I'm not making eye contact, or I'm looking down, or that sort of thing. The other thing is, if you do have some notes or some things to look at, or you're recording yourself doing a quick message, it's always better to have your notes above your laptop, closest to where the camera is. I've seen some who have them off to the side, and then their eyes continually are looking over here, over here. Others have had their notes down on their desk, and then they're keep sneaking peeks down there, and it's just very distracting that way. So if possible, have your notes above your screen. So again, you're looking as much as you can into your camera. And finally, if you are using an iPad or a tablet, it's important that you set it up so that the orientation of your video is horizontal. This way, it fits onto most screens. You don't have those black bars on the side and a very thin window of video showing your face. So make sure you turn your iPad or your iPhone, your tablet or your smartphone, if that's what you are using, so it's horizontal. Lighting is a really important part of any video, and especially a video conference. You want to avoid as much as you can lights behind you. I've unfortunately been in many, many meetings where this has been a problem, sometimes for myself and sometimes for others. If you can move any light to in front of your face so it's hitting you. If you have a window, you can open up the shade if it's daytime. It's always best to have the light hitting your face and not behind. When it's behind you and there's limited light in front of you, when it's behind you and there is limited light in front of you, it really does look like it's a video from the witness protection program or a hostage video or something like that, and it's hard to have a conversation that way when they're in the dark so much. It also is great, if you can, to have some soft light on your face. Right now, you can't see it, but I have a couple lights to my left and I have a window during the daytime to my right, sort of hitting me as best I can. It's not perfect. It's not a studio shoot, but for an in-home video, it's the best we can do. But I have a light that I can sort of adjust and move around, and I have it right now bouncing off the wall in front of me as opposed to hitting me directly on the face. If I just turned it directly to me, it would be way too bright and sort of wash me out and that sort of thing. So having a light that you can bounce off a wall is always great, and also choosing softer light if that's possible. And then last but not least is your background. And again, we're all in a situation where it's not ideal. We're working from home. Sometimes you're in a dining room, a living room, a basement, wherever you might be doing your video meetings or shooting a video to send out. But do your best to make sure there's nothing distracting behind you. Sometimes there's a plant directly behind you or even farther back that looks like it's growing out of your head. It's important to have some depth behind you and the wall behind you. So if you do have some distance, it does create a more ideal video shot where people can focus on your face and focus on what you're saying, and not on the shadows behind you or what is that coming out behind you, and that sort of thing. So be careful about your background. For more information and to gain access to all sorts of resources to help your aesthetic medical practice, please visit aestheticbusinessinstitute.com. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.